Good evening, everybody. I'm Dobbs. The race for the White House is going to be a Trump-Clinton showdown, it appears, tonight. The attacks, the counterattacks between the two, decidedly nasty. Clinton last week aired 2 new ads hitting Trump hard, and so Trump is firing back, unleashing some of his sharpest attacks against Clinton to date.
He was impeached for lying about what happened with a woman. And she's going to take ads about little Donald Trump. Hillary was an enabler, and she treated these women horribly. Just remember this. And some of those women were destroyed not by him, but by the way that Hillary Clinton treated them after everything went down.
Trump today doubled down on his remarks, saying they are simply retribution for Clinton playing the woman's card against him. Trump is also not backing off his fight with Republican elites who've been trying to subvert the will of the Republican voters who have supported him.
I'm a conservative, but don't forget, this is called the Republican Party. It's not called the Conservative Party. You know, there are conservative parties. This is called the Republican Party.
Well, we'll be taking up Trump's war with the GOP establishment and his general election strategy. We'll be talking with Trump campaign co-chair Sam Clovis here tonight. Also with us, Fox News' Kimberly Guilfoyle. A lot to take up here tonight, and we're now just one day from the West Virginia primary where Trump pulled out all the stops courting coal miners, and it paid off, because the West Virginia Coal Association has endorsed Donald Trump. President Bill Rainey says Clinton's proposals would continue President Obama's war on coal.
She had said, I think Wisconsin, that she wanted to put everybody out of work and close the coal mines, and she's going to pursue the global warming policy of this administration. So, and then comes down and thinks maybe it was a mistake. It sounded very convenient, and I don't think very many people bought it.
Mr. Rainey will be among our guests here tonight. Our top story, the Republican Party's civil war. House Speaker Paul Ryan today opened the door to stepping down as chairman of the Republican convention this July, if asked to do so by Donald Trump. But Trump clearly hasn't forgotten Ryan's reluctance to support him.
Yeah, I was blindsided a little bit because he spoke to me 3 weeks ago, and it was a very nice call, a very encouraging call. And then all of a sudden he gets on and he does this number. So I'm not exactly sure what he has in mind, but that's okay.
Trump and Ryan are set to meet this coming Thursday morning in what is sure to be a pivotal moment in Trump's quest to unite the Republican Party. And according to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's office, Trump will also be meeting with Senate Republican leaders on that same day. Joining us now, the co-chair and chief policy advisor for Donald Trump's campaign, Sam Clovis. Sam, great to have you with us. It's been a busy weekend and Monday. Let's turn, if we may, first to Ryan saying after your boss effectively said he'd make a quick decision on whether he'd be around based on his endorsement. He says he's willing to step down. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think that the meeting on Thursday is going to be very important. Mr. Trump's going to come to town in Washington, D.C., sit down with the leadership of the party in the House and in the Senate. The Speaker has opened up his door to make sure that they have the opportunity to discuss these things. They'll come to a mutual agreement, and it will be a mutual agreement. They will come out and they'll be able to stand together, and they'll talk about whatever the decisions were and the way forward. And I think that's what's going to happen in a lot of instances here as we go forward. That the dynamics of the leadership of the party, the donor class of the party, a lot of the media that support the party, I think that there's going to have to be a lot of this reaching across the aisle both directions, and I think this is going to be the way we're going to go forward. We have plenty of time. The convention's not till July, and then we can focus all of our energies on beating the Democrats in the fall.
Well, it doesn't seem as though Donald Trump has been diverted from his task in terms of focusing on Hillary Clinton. The woman's card, he's bringing, I would say, a Trumpian scale attack against her, and that is, I would presume, what we can expect from here until November 8th.
Well, I really think that Mrs. Clinton really cannot have it both ways. She can't go out there and be demanding on the issues of gender equity and all of the other factors. These are noble causes. These are things that Mr. Trump's fought for his entire professional life and a lot of things, and then turn around and be the demure victim. Mrs. Clinton cannot claim victimhood in this because she's been the aggressor in most of these cases, and I think Mr. Trump has been right to call her out on it.
This campaign is taking some interesting turns, appointing Governor Christie, to be to chair the transition for the Trump presidency. Some would say premature, some would say not traditional. You say?
I think it's absolutely the right pick. I think that you need someone who is probably knows the ins and outs of government. It is a government and governance issue that most people don't realize that the transition is separate from the campaign. The transition is to set up the government so that when President Trump comes down from Capitol Hill when he takes the oath of office on the 20th of January in 2017, Governor Christie will be able to hand him the keys of the government and will be able to govern. And will be able to govern effectively from the minute that President Trump steps into the White House. This is what is necessary. This is what has to happen. And I can't think of anyone better equipped to do that than Governor Chris Christie.
And are there one or two administrations, presidents-elect, whose transitions struck you as a model for what you all will be doing for Donald Trump?
Well, I think you take a look at if you take a look at some of the transitions that Ed Meese ran for President Reagan, I think that's probably a model. And certainly, even though not successful, I think the model for setting up a transition government to be able to do this, I think Governor Romney's team in 2012 did a remarkable job as well. And I think that those are templates that ought to be looked at. I'm not sure that necessarily fits the Trump model, but those are certainly places to start.
Sam, let me ask you this. Taxes, yes, today, the national media having a bit of a field day over, are the taxes going higher? Is it a baseline that's changing? What is the Donald Trump's meaning when talking about taxes might be going higher? He explained it, I think, but I want to hear your view. And also the minimum wage, for the first time embracing it. Are we watching a move to the center, as is customary with general election candidates?
No, I think we've been consistent, and these are areas, as you know, Lou, I've been deeply involved in, so I know these areas very well. I think on the raising of the taxes, I think for our tax plan, we've said all along that this tax plan is a place to start. This is where we have to start. We have to have these basic minimums, these points of departure. We have to get corporate taxes lower. We have to be able to clear the tax rolls of people who are simply not paying taxes anyway, and we have to be able to put more money into the middle class, and this is particularly targeted toward the lower middle class, and I think this is the area that we're going to concentrate and focus on, and some of these other areas, we know we're not going to get everything because it's going to take bipartisan support to get these through. On the minimum wage, I think when Mr. Trump talks about this has always been our position that the states ought to do this. By the way, most people don't realize that 29 states already have minimum wages above the federal standard. And this is up to the states. They can do whatever they wish. What we really want to focus on the minimum wage is remember that if minimum wages are raised and people start to lose their jobs, the minimum wage of a person who loses his or her job is zero. And that is not something that we want to take on. And we think that the states, even in the, I just talked to a CEO of a very large corporation, you know who it was if I mentioned his name, talked about the very fact that in California, the difference between the minimum wage and the wages that are paid in San Francisco and the level of unemployment and what the minimum wage base is just 80 miles away in Stockton are totally different. And each state ought to be able to address these issues appropriately, because one uniform minimum wage is probably not the right answer. We need to have this regionalized. We need to have it state by state, and then to go out there and have the states do this because they know their people best.
You know, Sam, that's absolute heresy for the left. Creating, my goodness, you don't want to look at as a federal system. Sam, always good to talk with you. Appreciate it so much.
Oh, Lou, thanks so much for having me on. We'll talk to you soon.
Got it. Deal. Sam Clovis, we're coming right back. A lot more here tonight. Stay with us. Donald Trump, the candidate of the people and winning. Ahead of tomorrow's primaries, he's working for working men and women.
The miners don't want to leave anyway. Is that right? You want to stay here. You want to open the mines. We're going to open the mine.
Trump loves coal country, and the president of the West Virginia Coal Association is our guest here next.